So céad mí a fáil sa go dtí sesiún na trí agus Tús Maith, Clár Coincheap Forbartha Coincheap ghnó. So welcome to Developing Your Business Concept. Is mission modern Díreoidh, Feimimnach Forbartha, or Anailís Development Executive here with Údarás na Gaeltachta. So, deep show the talin in Yovgan Héadwood, is phased of Fechan share in a YouTube channel. Agus Brano I cared that Vila Raw exannually Agus na Colachti na Shachtani Taimi. If today is your first day to join us, please feel free to look back at our YouTube channel to hear what experts and companies alike had to say, hear what the hot trends are, and the tools you can use to innovate. Plean can guide you to this channel if you have any queries. So, Hoiz Hadini Harva Simulinyo. Today we've got a great lineup of speakers. We're joined by two colleagues from OÉ Gaillimh, Anne and Ivaylo, along with Linda and Dara from Forbartha's Léachtóir Advanced Science, a company who we at Údarás have helped from initial concept development to scaling up. They will share with you some marketing insights, which we believe are very helpful. Oh, na mach go brag, mach mit ligla chéile, a siúmra, a córa, a gáidí, agus a fó na chéile. So although it would be great for us to all be in a room having an interactive session, technology developments has allowed us to actually have Anne with us today, all the way from her home in West Coast, California. I believe it's about 4 a.m. over there at the moment. Anne is a senior lecturer in marketing and the Vice Dean of Internationalization for the College of Business, Public Policy and Law. Her research interest lies in strategy, entrepreneurship, and marketing practices. And she is particularly curious about the relationship between e-marketing and marketing communications, as well as organizational strategy and innovative marketing practices. Her interest in negotiating theory and practice just adds an additional dimension to these topics. Agus tá go leor dúisina buachtacha sa mhór is Ivaylo. So Ivaylo is a marketing consultant, lecturer, and a PhD candidate with OÉ Gaillimh, with more than 17 years of senior marketing experience. Ivaylo has led communication projects for more than 120 organizations, companies, multinationals, SMEs, and startups. So Marshin, Tosam with Madzin, La Anne and Ivaylo. Anne and Ivaylo, thank you very much for being with us today. The floor, or should I say the screen, is yours in just 2 moments, but I just want to remind everyone that this session is recorded. Slides will be made available afterwards, as there's plenty of tools there that can benefit your business. Tá Corwin. So we want some interaction. So Baymac cook up the cache, the chat. So I'll be asking some questions in the chat function. So please try and interact with us. And to encourage you to interact, so Dara and Linda have kindly offered a prize for those who ask questions and join in. So thank you, Dara and Linda. I think it's safe to say we all love freebies, as Irish do anyways. It's brought in a league freebies. So Anne and Ivaylo, over to you.
So it's lovely to be here with you today, and it's a real privilege. And Ivaylo and I have prepared, I guess, a quick starter guide to market analysis. We're just trying to give you an overview of how to get started. And we realize that you are at various different stages of your entrepreneurial, I guess, business plan. So let's just, what I would say is just take what you find useful, and we can also help you if you have questions later. We can certainly show you to other sources. So I'm just going to share my screen here with you very briefly and share. Very good. And I'll just minimize the screen here. Okay, very good. So for our agenda, I'm just going to give you a few strategic analysis tools or analytical tools. We can talk about different types of data, and Ivaylo is going to give you a case study of a technology firm with whom he worked. We also provide you as sort of appendices different sources of data. I think what's really great is that the internet has provided us with many different sources of data, white papers, access to McKinsey Price Waterhouse, CSO. Even if you go to the trade bodies, you'll find a lot, and of course, Ross. And then also a few tools or kind of quick guides is where you might want to go if you want to develop your marketing tools further. And of course, we'll participate in the panel Q&A. So I've just picked a few analytical models that would be helpful in figuring out your marketplace and where you fit within the marketplace. So of course we have that lovely SWOT analysis, and you know here that the strengths and weaknesses have to do with you and your organization. So what do you believe that you bring to the marketplace? What are the benefits that you offer to your potential audiences or customers? What might be weaknesses that you experience, and how might you mitigate those? So those are things that are internal to the organization. And then externally, we want to see, okay, in the marketplace, what are the opportunities on which we could capitalize? So is there a good match between our strengths and our opportunities? And of course, threats would be things that might really be barriers for us to perform within the marketplace. So they could be competitors, they could be, the pandemic is an excellent example of a threat, but your SWOT analysis just gives you a nice framework to figure out, okay, what do we have to offer the marketplace? What might be weaknesses we might try to address, opportunities we want to capitalize, and threats that we want to be aware of and see if we can mitigate them. And I'm sure you've seen Porter's 5 forces. So the SWOT analysis gives you a sense of you and what you have to offer and certain concerns about the marketplace. But Porter's 5 forces really talks about where you fit in within the wider marketplace. So here we have really your competition. Those are competitors that you believe closely match the benefit that you offer. Okay, and in that respect, you're jockeying for position. But then you want to think about substitute products. So products that offer a similar benefit, but not really quite the same product. So if you wanted to think of a benefit of entertainment, think of Spotify. Spotify's main benefit is entertainment. And there's many things that could be substitute products that offer a similar benefit. You could think of Netflix for streaming. You could think of Amazon and Prime Video. You could think of gaming. So the competition for Spotify isn't just radio streaming or other music streaming from YouTube or Apple Music or Pandora. It is just who else provides the same or similar benefit for entertainment. Then you want to think of the risk of new entrants into the marketplace. So those who could maybe copy or who maybe come with a little bit of better technology or a little bit better in terms of channel management. So in that respect, you want to kind of keep a sense of how the competition is sizing up. And then of course, we are concerned about the balance of power between the customers and the suppliers. So your suppliers are your partners within your business. They help you get from wherever you are in the value chain to end user. And in that respect, you want to see, well, how much power do they have in terms of our profitability? And the power of consumers or the customers, really you're thinking about demand and how strong is that demand? Is it a buyer or seller's market in that respect? So this really kind of gives you a sense, it's dynamic over time. So if you took a Porter's 5 forces analysis, let's say in March 2019, and then you took it again in 2020 and again in 2021, you might see a very different picture. So at a point in time, both the SWOT analysis and a Porter's 5 forces analysis can give you a snapshot of what's happening. But the market is dynamic. So that means you really need to consider it again over time. It's not just a one-shot deal. Now, as a marketer, we always believe that the heart of any kind of activity should start with an analysis of the customer. So this is what we see as a customer empathy map, and it's part of a business canvas model. I'm sure you've seen that before. And really what we want to look at here, if you're thinking about your product or services, what are the pains that you are relieving? What Oops, there we go. What pains are you relieving? What benefits are you offering? What gains? How do you meet their needs and wants, their hopes and their dreams? And in that respect, you also want to consider who are the influencers? Who do they look to for information? What is the situation they're in? What do they need to do? What do they see, say, and what do they hear? So in that respect, this really just gives you a snapshot to really think about your product and services from the perspective of your customer. So we have a nice saying in marketing that the customer's reality is the reality in which you need to address. So it's their perspective that really matters. So even if you have the best product in the world, if your customers or your potential customers don't believe that to be the case, then you're really not going to have success. So understanding that thought and how they think is really important. So I mentioned a business canvas model, and this is a very popular technique within innovation labs, and a business canvas model is meant to be iterative, and it brings together 9 different elements. I believe it's 9 different elements. So here in the blue, you really have everything that has to do with the customer and meeting with the customer. So what's your value proposition, what channels you use, who are your key customer segments. And then over here, you have kind of your operational. Who are your partners in terms of distribution or access or raw materials? What resources do you have available to you? What are the key activities within your operations that you really need to manage? And of course, right here in the orange, it probably should be green because we're talking about money and profitability. So what is your cost structure or your business model, and how does that generate revenue for you? So this is a wonderful tool. You see everything within a page, and it's something that, you know, when I operate in innovation clinics, students could do 20 or 30 of these within a week, because you're really questioning and putting forward, well, what if we were to change our value proposition? Or what if we were to change our channels, go for a digital first channel, or maybe we want to have an omni-channel approach. So in that respect, it can change or alter all the other aspects, the other 8 elements within the business canvas model. So I'm going to hand over to Ivaylo, but before I do, what I would say is in the appendices, I have some really useful tools about and I'm just going to stop sharing so Ivaylo can take over here. Oops, let me just stop sharing so that you can actually work with your personas, you can develop a customer journey. All of that would be quite useful. So Ivaylo, do you want to take over now? I'll leave that to you. I think I've stopped sharing there.
Did you stop it?
Yep, I did.
Okay, let me try. Oh, I can do it. I can do it. Okay.
Yeah, you can do it, yeah.
Okay, right. Guys, Kyle, share. Okay. This is me. Let me know, guys, if you don't see it properly. Hi all. So I had a nice introduction of me. So I'm working as a consultant the last 16, 17 years. And the last couple of years, I'm working with Déanann PhD research in the University of Ireland in Galway. So I will talk a little bit about where to find the data and how to work with data in order to feed it these great analytical tools that Ann talked about. So, move. It's moving. So, in general, there are many types of data, but in general, there are 4 major types of data. And the good news is that there is a lot of data out there. The bad news is that we need all of these types to work together. So the first one is so-called internal data. So this is the data we create in our organization on a daily basis through sales, through CRM, to interaction with customers, through operations, all these things. And we have this data. The problem with this data that it's really limited in scope. Okay, in order to have all these great analysis of our industry, how competitive we are in this industry, we need external data. So we need to look at our environment, and only we can gain insights only when these 2 types of data work together. It's not either or, they need to be both present. And this data, both internal and external, could be either quantitative or qualitative. So in simplest terms, quantitative data is really a numerical data, very well structured, that we could fit into different statistical analysis tools, for example, Excel, and these kind of things. But qualitative data is probably the bigger part. I'd say that it's more than 80% of the data is qualitative, and this could be anything from images, text, social media posts, reports, any type of data that fits here. So we need all these four pieces available and working together to have our analysis. So I'm going to focus on external data. So this is secondary external data, so data created by somebody else. Again, the good news is we have enormous amounts of data available. So we're kind of limited only by our time, effort, and analytical capabilities, right? So here are several of the major types of data. All of this is, except one, is free and freely available for us to use. So there's first of all, there's a lot of governmental data, starting from the Statistical Institute of Ireland, different ministries and agencies. We share a lot of quantitative and qualitative data. Then we have industry organization, research reports. All organizations, professional and industry organizations create regular research reports in their respective industries. Then we have the big four of the likes of big four consultants like Deloitte, PwC, McKinsey, and so, which in Ireland have very extensive operations and create a lot of great research for different industries. We're going to, just in a few minutes, we're going to take a look at a bit of examples from their research. Then we have corporate research reports. Now, if you follow on the companies and competitors in your industry, you would notice that a lot of companies are creating research and reports as part of their content marketing communication strategies. So this is free information, insightful information for us to use. Of course, universities are creating a lot of data information. And then we have paid industry reports. Okay, you could hire consultants, which would, like, for 1,500 or 2,000 euro, provide you with report on your industry, major competitors, major products, demand data, and so on and so on. You should always check on your competitors' web pages and available content for insights into their daily marketing operations. Finally, there are so-called repositories, huge data reporters where you could look for many different types and data sets. Okay, so there is the thing called Google Dataset Search. So Google have this tool, this website, free website, where just like the normal Google search engine, you go there and look among tens of millions of data sources, and you could find like almost anything of interest. So you see, except for the paid reports, there is a huge amount of data out there, free for us to use in our marketing and to feed our marketing analytics. And one of the problems here is, of course, the bad news is that sometimes that is so huge, you need to browse through a lot of information to extract the meaningful insights. So it takes time, right? Well, let me show you a project illustration of how this analysis goes for a tech company in Ireland. The analysis is 100% used with free available data. So one of the major problems, and Ann talked about pain points and messaging and value propositions in tech companies selling to other companies, is to determine and focus their effort according to different verticals or industries. Okay, so these companies in these industries have usually different pain points. So they have different challenges that we solve with our solutions. Therefore, we need to adapt our messaging. There are definitely different media channels for different industries. If you can imagine, like consumer retail and construction, for example. These are totally different things, but we're selling to both. And then we need to also adopt our product strategy. So we need to, in B2B tech marketing, we need to focus and have priority for certain industries. Usually I recommend like 5 or 6 top visible industries. But then our product strategy usually, and especially with commodity products like cloud, is dependent on the number of users. So we divide our services and products according to the number of users. And number of users is almost totally related to the number of employees. So we need not only to look at the different verticals, but we need to look horizontally according to size of company and have our products and solutions structured in a proper way. And the company I work for, they hadn't done none of this. So before they asked me to look at their marketing communications, I said, okay, guys, we need to first go through this analysis before we start planning for marketing. And what did I do? Like, this is a lot of information for the statistics office of Ireland. And we started looking at these companies vertically, what type of companies on the market. So in Ireland, you have like 4 major types of companies. These are micro companies, up to 10 employees, small companies, medium companies, and large companies. And obviously, we focus here is on small and medium enterprises, which are up to 250 persons. So we started from there. Then we looked at like, okay, if you're looking at SMEs, what type of companies are in SMEs? And it turns out that like more than 50% of the SMEs in Ireland are companies in services, and more than 20% are in construction. And more than 75% of the workforce in Ireland is employed in small and medium enterprises. Okay, so we are in the right direction. We're looking how to market the small and medium enterprises. Obviously, services are getting interesting for us here, but then we need more information to be more focused. And in order to confirm our analysis, we look at again from the statistics. Statistics in Ireland about the health of these industries, okay, and a little bit more detail. What are the different types of companies industries? And we see that like in 4 years, the biggest growth in a number of enterprises. So this shows really the health of the industry coming from financial services, other types of services, and construction. So we are going in this direction, and then we want to know, okay, which are these companies? Okay, can we be more specific, because we need to focus our industries. And when we look at the data for almost 10 years, now there is even more updated information. We looked and we were interested in, like you see, like wholesale and retail trade, definitely hospitality and hotel services are interesting in Ireland, financial and other insurance services, professional services of other kind, like legal, accounting, and we kind of identified several industries that are really healthy. They look healthy. We on the basis of the history of our organization, we know that we have served companies from this industry. We know that we have capabilities to serve these companies there. But then we need to look at how these companies and what types of IT services they purchase, okay? And we look at this Déanann analysis where they show very interestingly the percentage of revenues of this company dedicated to IT services, even they divided for business operations, incremental business change, and business innovation. This is very insightful. Why? Because we kind of see, okay, professional services is one of the top type of companies that are investing in IT, and construction is like, you know, it's always construction. It's perceived as like the least innovative industry. So they're kind of 1.5% of their revenues they're investing in information technology, and this is great insight to understand where could be our money coming from and where we could really focus our marketing effort. And you see here professional services, hospitality is a huge consumer of information technology, insurance, and so on. And then again, we went to the statistics office of Ireland and looked at what types of services. So there is this information society report, and we could look at what types of services IT services companies are procuring in Ireland, and even gain further insight by understanding that mostly companies which are ingenious here, small enterprises, are not investing enough. And the reason for this is that they're not aware of the available services and the benefit of these services for their operation. So we're starting to get an idea, what is our value proposition? To who is our value proposition? And at this stage, when you look at we have information for the different industries, how much is their turnover, the number of employees, the percentage of expenditure on IT services, the type of IT services they consume, and so on and so on. You could start computing and estimating very nicely the addressable market in attaching value to addressable market, which is critical for business planning, development, and marketing. And then I added a bunch of other information, very qualitative information for look and feel, for pain points, for value proposition, understanding the companies, what they're looking in IT, and there is a lot of information in Deloitte. And here is an example of additional sources I have used, like, for example, reporting on the digitalization of small and medium enterprise in Ireland, prepared by the European Commission, IDC in Ireland, Vodafone. You see, this is an example of how a corporation like Vodafone is preparing. They had a very nice report on what SMEs need from IT point of view. PwC Irish Digital IQ Survey, and then there is even a public report from Irish Parliament on IT challenges by SMEs in the company. So when you add all this information and together with the insight and experience of the entrepreneurs, of the management, of the founder of this company, and then we kind of decided to structure the services into three broad areas. Services for less than 10 users. So this could be companies of less than 10 employees, and with sub-segment of startups, which is a very interesting and growing as a bigger market in Ireland. So we have a specific offering for this type of companies. And then we're going for 10 to 30 users, kind of the predominantly the bigger size of the medium and small enterprises in Ireland. And then for us, more than 30 is a huge enterprise business. And all these three segments have really totally different pain points. You need to, they have different priorities, so you need to prioritize your value proposition and your messaging. So this, and the combination of product and services that we offer them. And we also decided on 6 primary verticals and industries which we could target. And on a later stage, I worked for further researching on this particular industry, what are their pain points and how to adapt message and how to reach these companies. For example, legal, which is a solicitor's business, is a huge business in Ireland. For example, we had a data, let me see where I have it here, on hospitality. And I think it was hospitality, the market of IT only hospitality was coming up to something like 250 million euro per year. Okay, and then of course our share is much smaller, but then we could really come up with a strong number that we could target and based our planning on. So this is how we fed a lot of public data to have a strong business and marketing analysis. And finally, from here on, you could see all the appendices, all the information with tools and data that we have prepared for you. And I just want to make a remark on, I have put a lot of examples, but just show a couple of things. Sorry, I'm going so quickly through the slides. You can have the presentation later. But this is, for example, I want to show you, this is Google dataset search. And you have like more than 25 million data sets there. So you can look for anything. You can go there and look for any type of quantitative, qualitative data and use it for your business. It's a huge thing. And the other thing is, again, it's free, is this tool called Google Trends. So it's totally free. And Google Trends works on the Google search data, and Google search data is like more than 90% used here. And for example, this is a type of information you could look for when you search for, when you use the word food in Google Trends, and it shows you geographically the interest by city in Ireland. It shows you related topics down there in the left corner. So you see the topics, rising topics, the topics which are interest of people who are related to food, and then related queries. What people are using, what's particular search words they're using related to food. So here in this tool, you could have, with a quick analysis, very insightful information about consumer interest, the volume of this interest, geographical dimension of this interest, related topics to this interest, very, very important for your content in marketing, search engine queries, seasonality. I'm using this tool regularly when I'm planning for advertising to see where in the trend during the year they look at what time most for particular topic. So this is it. This is our presentation. So I'm gonna stop sharing here so that we could continue with our meeting. Thank you very much.